Jonathan, it's good to meet you, and it's terrific to see you finally putting a name to the face.
Yes, here I am.
And introduce both of yourself. And I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
My name's Max. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you guys as well. How old are you guys? 7 or 11?
Turning 21 in a few months.
Congratulations to both of you. You guys are really young for trading, but why don't we start here? Why don't both of you guys introduce yourself? It's good to have you on board, and I'd love to spend the next 30 minutes or so just talking about what you guys have been doing. I know that you trade, you've done a lot of different businesses. Jonathan, I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be fun. But why don't you start with how did you get started? Tell me a little bit about both of yourselves, and we'll go from there.
Sure. So Max and I both go to the University of Arizona. That's where we met on the second day of school.
Yep, in the dorms.
In the dorms.
Nice.
He's in business school. He just got accepted into his finance program, which is a super prestigious, hard thing to do at my school. What is
So
it?
you're a junior or sophomore?
I'm a sophomore.
Sophomore. Okay.
We're both sophomores.
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay, good.
I think it's like a 3% acceptance rate in finance.
Yeah, finance it's a pretty low acceptance rate, something like that.
So I was in business school, but I left business school to join the School of Political Science.
Very nice.
We both were in a few business classes together, and we just heard some rather alarming statements made by professors.
Yeah.
Interesting. Tell me more. What did they say?
So one example I remember is we had a professor, I can't remember his name, it was a big lecture hall. And he was basically talking for 30, 45 minutes about how government-backed companies or, government-provided services usually outperform market-backed services or, goods. And to me, that just didn't make any sense. And the minute he said that, I was thinking, like, then why does FedEx exist? Right.
Why does anything exist?
Yeah, it should.
Why is government less than 15% of total GDP? If
right.
That is, right? The market forces would have forced you to do either. Anyway,
Exactly.
There are some professors who probably have an agenda, but tell me a little bit about your backgrounds, Max and Jonathan. How did you guys get started? I know what we're going to talk about is your trading approach, your trading strategy, how you guys trade, what do you trade? But let's start with Max. Maybe Max, you can start with. Tell me a little bit about what got you excited about investing and trading.
So I've always been like pretty interested in I guess all like business ventures kind of. I started like a shoe resale company, which turned into like a clothing reselling company as well, in middle and high school. And then when I came here and I met John, we kind of had similar ideas of like we both want to be successful and want to like create businesses and make money and all that. And so we had a lot of conversations about different ways to do that, and we spent a lot of time together because frankly there weren't many people that were around us that had those similar ideas and had that similar drive to like be something and do something. And so we just started talking about like the different ways we could do that, and we had both had previous investing experience, just like on our own. And then I guess the first thing was crypto, huh?
Yeah, so we were both in crypto. We were part of that little boom. And,
when was this? What time frame was this? 2021, 22?
2020 to 2021.
Yeah, this was December or December of 21.
Okay.
Before I came to college in 2020, I was already kind of a part of the crypto space.
Yeah.
And we both had really huge days of returns in that too.
Yeah.
I think
everybody did.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'd wake up and be like, wow, I'm up like 16K on the day today from a $300 investment 2 months ago.
And it was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of became this normalized thing that, here we are, 19, 20 years old with more money than we kind of know what to do with.
Right. That's awesome.
Because neither of us really are super materialistic big spenders, I'd say. That's not really like our goal in life isn't to get rich and drive a Lamborghini. That's far out of the sight for what I want in my life, and that's not really what he wants either. So anyways, we left crypto with basically getting spanked out of it. It was not a pretty sight, you know.
We didn't prepare enough and take the time to understand the markets and what we were really getting into, and we just kind of started throwing money at it.
Yeah.
And that gave us a hard lesson.
It became our learning
that we learned.
experience.
Better off learning that lesson when you're 21 than when you're 51.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we kind of both did this. We did some different things at school. We enjoyed being young for sure, had fun with parties and whatever. But then about the last year and a half, I kind of just cut out like everything in my life, I'd say. I kind of just was like, wake up, work, go to bed, work, go to school and work. You know, it was always just trying to learn about markets, how markets move, different types
When you
of,
say markets right now, you mean options, you mean stocks, you mean crypto?
I mean, all of it basically.
Okay.
An oversight of how different financial instruments work. So
What were your sources of learning? Where did you guys go to learn? Was it mostly YouTube? Was it mostly Twitter, Instagram, TikTok?
All of it. Yeah.
I
All of
mean,
the above.
I think the biggest thing was we both watched a lot of these gurus, you know. Oh, here I am driving a Lamborghini and you can become rich just like
Just follow this trading strategy. You'll have 100,000 in a day. You know?
Yeah. And we quickly learned that, you know, that's not how this game works at all.
Yeah.
You know, it's a game where there is no such thing as a trading strategy. There is no such thing as, you know, if this band crosses this band, you're going to make money. That just doesn't exist. Markets are not A plus B equals C.
Forget it. I'm canceling this meeting. I thought there was only one strategy. You guys were going to tell me. I'm disappointed now.
Yeah. You're gonna do the secret to life.
Yeah. So I think that's the biggest people think investing is like, oh, I just have to learn this one strategy and I'll get there. But realistically, what we had to do is we had to go in and learn the fundamentals first, right? And for me, that was options, and I had to go and learn what are limit prices, you know, what is volatility, what are the Greeks, what do those things mean? You know, there was a whole list of different things that we had to learn, and I think learning that, you know, the rising star, moon over blood indicator is not going to make you money.
Yeah.
There's a science to this, and it's
No
not
3
just
black widows, 3 white soldiers, whatever.
Yeah.
And so we started testing things. Specifically, what happened is I started moving into more informational videos rather than these are the answers videos. So I started analyzing more and more informational things than this is the answer to what you're asking, if that makes sense. So I started to draw my own conclusions about things. And then Max is a bit newer than I am to the space of options, at least. But
yeah, specifically options, because
and are these stock options? Are they futures and commodities? What are you focused on?
Stock options, and mostly SPX and
yeah. So I trade SPX as a scalper, and that's mostly all I do.
Mm-hmm.
And
just SPX, that's it.
Basically just SPX. I will trade some contracts for individual companies. Like I'll do Tesla, Apple, FedEx. I like FedEx. I like Starbucks. You know, other than
because they are predictable? Is it because you know them? What is it about them?
It's purely I've spent the time on the tape. You know, I've spent a lot of time looking at those companies and how they move and how news changes their movements. There's just been a lot of pattern recognition with those companies.
Max, tell me about why options. You guys had done quite a bit of time in crypto.
Yeah.
You continued in crypto, given that it is still a volatile market. Volatility is good if you know what you're doing from a trading perspective. Why did you choose options? Was it a lot more, is it less expensive to get started? Is it more volatile? Is it, you know, how it, you know, learned it better? What is it?
I wouldn't say it's less expensive. I would say that crypto, there's a lot of factors that can go into it that are kind of, I would say unpredictable and like less trustworthy when making a trade. Along with that, when you're doing options trading, one of the biggest thing is that the volatility of the market at that moment can change how much the contract prices just like instantly. So I feel like that's a big thing on when making a trade. It's more about, oh, the market is picking this direction, we can make a much larger return on that rather than going into like a crypto space where it's just someone could say one thing and then you just lose your half of your investment.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And
We
when
just
you guys when you guys trade options, what's your typical holding period for SPX options, or maybe FedEx or Apple or Tesla?
So this is very personality driven. Your
Yeah.
trading strategy is really an inner look at how your brain works. That I believe that firmly, you know. So Max and I are opposites in that end. I need things quick. I'm a very stimulation driven person. So that's why I scalp, and that's basically all I do. But you'll hold contracts.
yeah, there are
longer.
times where I'll hold them longer. I do.
What
I
is
would say-
longer, Max?
Sorry.
What is longer? What does longer mean?
Well, longer as in at like, I mean, there are certain times where it'll be more than a day, but most of the time it's same day, but just like maybe like a few hours, like 5 hours.
So for
But
you, 5 hours to a day is longer.
yes.
Much longer than I trade for sure.
Yeah.
You're
I mean-
going minutes, Jonathan?
Yeah, sometimes 30 seconds. It really, the thing with SPX is it moves in increments. It doesn't move by a cent like other, other contracts do. So you got to be prepared with momentum pushes, direction. As soon as you see direction move, then you got to be in a contract and then get out of the contract.
And do you do calls only? Do you do calls and puts?
I do calls and puts.
Got it. So SPX calls and puts are your go-to. It's the thing that you know very well. You spent a lot of time on the tape, and that's what you do. What about you, Max? Are you more of an SPX and that, or do you do other contracts as well?
Yeah, I would say that's what I also do mostly, but I do like to expand sometimes. Like for example, when the whole thing with SVB happened, he actually mentioned the company, but he didn't want to get in on it, was like shorting Ally. And I like to do those types of things, like go and learn a little bit about some certain company and then make a trade on them based on what other companies are doing in that
Sectors.
sector.
Yeah.
So because of SPX, you started trading Ally and maybe First Republic or someone like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, big one was like, I think I woke up the morning where everything went nuts, and I was thinking about our inflation in this economy and interest and how banks work and how interest affects banks and specifically lenders. So Discover and Ally were the first two companies that came to mind. Discover is because that's my favorite credit card to use. And I didn't go in on any contracts, but I think you did on Discover too, right?
No, I went only Ally.
Only Ally. Okay. But
So
like, I think it was,
walk me through a day in the life of Max, and then walk me through a day in the life of Jonathan. You've got school, you've got friends, you've got contracts, you've got SPX, you've got so many things coming at you. What does your day in the life look like?
I would say so. I've always been an early riser. I get up and go to the gym at 6 a.m. And so it wasn't that difficult to transition into waking up and doing some market research and then getting into trading at 6:30. We don't normally trade early in the morning or that early, but we start research about then, and then we'll trade maybe like 8-ish,
yeah, right around
something like that. We're in the markets a
So
little
avoid
more.
the first 1.5 hour when there's a lot of trying to figure out direction of the market. Go from 8 to 10, and then you're done.
I wouldn't say we're done.
Yeah.
I think, the thing with options trading is you don't want to ever do it in consolidating markets, and you can't
Right.
figure out if the day is a consolidating day
You want to go when it's completely going up or you're completely going down. You
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
want
exactly.
that's where money
to
is
sit around and do
made.
nothing, right? Because you don't get enough
Yeah.
volatility if it's a day that is just going to be 0.2% up or 0.2%
Exactly.
down or
Then
just
you
crashing
just
back
don't-
and forth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can't do anything with
And when
that.
you
You
get
want a
stuck in
solid
the
green going up or a solid red going down.
yeah, and if you buy contracts during a consolidating market, just like say goodbye to the rest of your day.
Yeah, you got to
Because
keep
now there's
watching
a-
it. Ticker
Yeah,
tape becomes a hard, right? It becomes a hard
yeah,
thing. Do you guys
absolutely.
place mostly limit orders or do you do market orders?
Limit.
Yeah, 100%.
And do you do preset? Do you preset your exit price, meaning that if it hits this, you're getting out, or do you have a price by which you say, here's my stop loss? What do you guys do?
So my exit strategy, I'd say, is take a third of my contracts out at 15% profit, take another third out at 25% profit, and then leave the last third as just runners. So at that point, whatever, if they go up to 60%, great. I'll just take it when I feel like taking it.
And the 60% is still within the day,
Yes.
right? At the end of the day, whatever happens, you're like, thank you, goodbye.
Yeah.
It's pure day trading. Max, what about your stop losses and what about your exit strategy?
I would say I have a similar exit strategy of like like I do it in like thirds. But I would say that I do it more of based off what I'm seeing on how the market has been moving all day. And like if it's starting to level off, then I won't wait for 15%. I'll take a third at 8%, or maybe it's 4%, and then I have something to work off of for the next two sections. And then I'll do the same and I'll leave the last third as kind of a runner and kind of let that grow a little bit and see where it goes. But then maybe it's 25%, maybe it's 50%, whatever it is, I'll take profit then.
Do you scale up your contracts, Max, or do you go all in the first time? For example, what I mean by that is, do you do third contract, I'm going to buy it at this, then within 5 minutes, I'm going to buy another third, I'm going to buy another third after 5 minutes, or is you just like 300, I'm going to buy 3 contracts all at the same time, sell all of them at the one third, one third, one third?
I mainly do that. Mainly buy when I'm buying in, I'm buying in because I believe that the
It's gonna
market
go up.
will do a certain thing.
Averaging in is also, it takes a lot more, it's kind of like a lot more data coming at you when you realize you've averaged into a position,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
And then you're thinking about so many different things.
Yeah.
It just gets
This
really-
complicates things. Got it.
It
Yeah.
does,
The
yeah.
reason I'm asking is because I know, do you guys follow anybody outside of the gurus? Do you follow anybody else in terms of, hey, what are some people saying in terms of other options and contracts and things? Who do you guys follow? Who are your go-to either analysis or research or social kind of either people on TikTok, Instagram, or Twitter, or whatever the case is?
So there's one guy we follow, what's his name?
the stock market.
Yeah,
It's
the-
stock market news, Evan.
Yeah.
And he is
This
incredible.
is on Twitter, it's on TikTok.
Twitter. He also has a YouTube,
Yep.
Stock Market Evan.
Yep.
stock market news dash Evan.
I've
Yeah.
never heard of this.
This
He-
guy is,
He
Yeah.
really like he puts out information about like everything that's happening, political, economy wise, like everything. And then he'll have like interviews with certain people and meetings with them about like what their outlook is on the market and all of that. And it's really good.
I'm going to ask you for this. Oh yeah, Stock Market NEWZ.Evan.
Yeah.
Interesting. I've never followed this. I'm going to follow him now. Oh yeah, he's as we expected. He's got like 300,000 followers.
Yeah. we also follow Unusual Whales. That's a
Yeah.
Yes, I've heard a lot of people talk about. Yesterday I had another gentleman who I was speaking to about options flow, and they were talking about BlackBox as one of the option flow data providers.
We use Flow Algo. That's
Yeah.
ours.
Yeah, BlackBox.
No, Flow Algo.
Yeah.
But
And
it's
then,
the same.
Unusual Whales is another one. There are a few names that keep coming up again and again as if you are in options and you want to find what options flow looks like, then here are 2, 3 names that come by. But Stock Market News dash Evans is a new one. I'm going to follow it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I got started, well, when I was 23 was when I started trading back in the day. So this is 27 years ago. And unlike you guys, I was actually in debt within the first 9 months. I lost $25,000 in less than 9 months. Two trades.
Really?
Qualcomm, which you may have heard of as a company,
Yep.
and the other company that I lost. Well, there was an analyst that actually stock price was 86 on Qualcomm. Okay, this was in 93, 94, something like that. The analyst put a price of 1,600 on the stock.
Yeah.
CNBC. And I was like, okay, I'm in.
I'm done. I can retire after this.
Yeah, I loaded the truck. And so I
Yeah.
started off, but of course I paid I took margin, and so I did margin. I did a whole bunch of nonsense when I was 23. Since then, the strategy has changed quite dramatically, as you can imagine. Now it is less risky. It's don't lose money first, then worry about everything else.
Yeah. We don't trade on margin at all.
Yeah,
Nothing.
that's the good thing, right? I've seen a lot of people in the last. So to give you context, 2022, when I started talking a lot about trading in particular, 21, everybody, they would close their eyes, they'd throw money at a stock and it'd go up. So people took
We know
massive
that.
crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then the same people were left holding the bag towards the end of 21, early 22, and then 22 was a washout year for a ton of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people got washed out.
Right.
So it's been a learning experience for a lot of different people. Let's switch gears. You follow stock market news, Evan. I've been fascinated by hearing about a number of younger people that follow these folks on Instagram and on TikTok. I take it you guys either follow or don't follow. What's your perspective on TikTok and Instagram for stock trading news information? And then after that, I want to talk about Reddit, but let's go to Instagram, TikTok first. What's your go-to there, or is there any go-to there?
So, okay. So, there's about 2 people that I say I've gained insightful information from that are in the TikTok, Instagram / YouTube world. One is Mazzy Trades. She's the one who introduced trading SPX to me.
How do you spell that?
MASI Trades.
Okay.
She's really cool. Her videos are down to the basics, but the basics have a lot of value in them.
Right.
So I don't today watch her videos, but she got me pretty far. And then the other guy's name is Isaac Suffren.
Yeah.
Isaac what?
Suffren, Suffren.
Okay.
And he kind of was the same thing. He has these paid discords. I think so does she. But the free information they give you is really valuable. I think you watched some of their videos too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
If you're getting into options trading, that's a really good place to start. You'll just learn simple things like support and resistance, a breakout.
Very basics. You're block and tackle. How do you get started with just understanding options trading, if you will?
Yeah.
In a simple enough way that makes it easy for you to understand. Whether it's, the thing that I find interesting about TikTok and Instagram is that you're forced to make it simple or you won't get people following you. That's what I love about those systems, right? You have to make it simple, you have to make it engaging, you have to make it consistent. Otherwise people are like, I don't want to follow this. It's too complicated.
There can also be a negative side to that as well, because what you're seeing is there's a lot of information that people are trying to give out in 15, 30 seconds. But that information now, because there's so much of it, you can get confused on what's accurate and what's not accurate.
That it's a lot of sifting through a bunch of garbage to find good information.
Yeah.
I had one of my uncles would tell me this story. Stocks, and that now holds good even for Instagram and Twitter and followers. It's like you're in a fairy tale and you're kissing a lot of frogs to find one prince.
Yeah. That's pretty true. I'd say it's pretty true.
Yeah. Okay, we talked about options. What about you guys? trying to talk to other people who are about your age, you're about your age, and they're trying to get in. Do you talk to a lot of other people? Are they interested? Do they care about it? Or they think you guys are a bunch of nerds that just want to make money? What is that? How does that work?
Yeah.
I mean, I can hit on this.
All right, yeah,
subject.
you start. I'll tell some story.
So I think at our age it is there is I can't even put a percentage amount because it would probably be a very inaccurate statistic, but it seems like no one really cares that much about their future, if I'm honest. There's this kind of mentality driven into people that everything is it's impossible, or that's like, oh, you got lucky, or oh, you're part of this 1% that just happened to make it happen, you know? And I think we spent a lot of time talking about this last night, but it's really far from the truth, you know. There's nothing special about Max and I. It's just that we try, and I think a lot of people our age don't try, or they try once,
That's
fail,
what
and
that's what I think makes you special, though.
it
What makes you
maybe
special, right? Unfortunately or fortunately, that's what makes you special, because most of the people are involved in their own whatever it is.
right.
It's homework, and then I've got to get back. That's one set of people. Another set of people is, listen, I've got 4 years to party. After that, I'm going to work anyway. I'm going to work for 40 years. Why bother with that right now? I'm going to do it when
That's
I'm.
what we see the most of right there.
Yep.
It's
This is fun time,
then
and then I'm gonna get a job, and that's it.
Yeah. Then I'm going to get a job. Then I'm going to have to go to work. Then I'm going to have to get kids and the whole 9 yards, right?
Don't scare me.
But oh gosh.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah. Well, you guys are kids yourselves, so you can't be that horrible. Let me
Yeah.
ask you a little bit about, let's switch gears for the last 5 minutes just to get a sense from you. Chat GPT and generative AI. I don't know what is generative AI. Maybe that's maybe more interesting to you guys. For the last 2 weeks, every day I go in the morning and I type into GPT and say, suggest me some good stocks to buy. And of course, it stays away from that, right? But you can tease out information from ChatGPT based on the prompt. You can slowly work on the prompts and slowly guide it to a place
Yeah.
where maybe it doesn't want to go, maybe you want it to go. Either ways.
Right.
And increasingly, or a couple of times, I found suggestions of ETFs. It just said buy this and keep it. It didn't say anything else, right? Do you guys use it? What's the feeling generally? Or most of the people, we'll start with you first. What do you guys think about ChatGPT generative API? And then most of the kids in school that you talk to, are they even aware? They're probably using it for homework. Besides that, probably not just aware. Everybody's using it for homework and for classwork. But are they using it for anything outside of this, or asking questions and learning? Or they're just like, let me do the homework. This is helping me do my work. I got to go back to partying.
That's the latter is basically how I'd say people in our age group use it.
100%.
We use it pretty differently. So I am not a technical computer guy at all, but what I've been using ChatGPT to do is create basically an economic model that takes different characteristics from different past economies. So one example is the high inflation rates of the 80s. I'm trying to get it to take that data and put it in my model, if that makes sense, because that's somewhat of a predictive analysis of what happened from the past.
Yeah, it's using history to make a potential view on what it might be. And Max, what do you use ChatGPT for?
Well, I mean, we use it like the same, like together.
Yeah.
But I would say that it's really, really impressive, actually, like what it can do.
Yeah.
When it like with forming code, because my brother is into autonomous systems. He's getting his PhD, and he's a coder pretty much, and he knows all about that. And so we had him help us because it had like 1 or 2 errors in the code, and like it was very impressive the fact that he was, it was something that he could have created, but we just went on a ChatGPT and said, make this happen.
We would have to give him like a 7-8% equity position to get that kind of information, but for $20 a month, you get it for that $20 a month.
Yeah, you get it. Yeah, that's
awesome.
the fascinating part. I started, there's a friend of mine that runs a newsletter called SoundSmart. And SoundSmart is a newsletter that gives you one very simple recommendation on an AI tool to use for that day. He's got hundreds, right? So every day he just sends you one. And
Right.
he just says, use this, this is how you would use it. And the idea behind him was, his point was, I go to a lot of the parties where people want to sound smart. So he's like, here, say this and you'll sound very smart. That's what he started out with. So he
You know,
sends out
you said-
emails.
When you said sound smart,
Yeah, that's a huge
we
thing.
talk about this a lot. It's that this finance world, once you get into it, investment bankers don't know more than the average human a lot of the times.
Right.
Financial analysts don't really know
In
that
fact, maybe
much.
more, they know less. I wouldn't say they don't know more. They know less because they're not trained to be deep in one area. They're
Yeah.
trained to be broad in a lot of different areas, right? It's the difference between a hedgehog and a fox story, if you heard of that.
Right.
The hedgehog knows one thing really well. The fox knows a lot of things. So it depends on what you want to do. Most investment bankers are foxes. They're not hedgehogs. There's very little of what they know about anything in particular in one area.
But at the
And then
same,
they cover it up. They
yeah,
cover up their
Lack of knowledge.
knowledge with big words, big things that some people can't understand. So
And
that
Excel spreadsheets that model
exactly.
that's
the entire world and back.
there we go, like Excel spreadsheets.
It's almost like their finance is like an ego race, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah,
And you get a lot of people who shouldn't be in finance at institutions making big decisions that they know nothing about, you know? And if you went to Harvard and you got a 4-year degree in finance, good job, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have good analytical skills. What that
Right.
means is you're able to soak information in and spit it back out.
yep.
It doesn't mean that you can manipulate the data that you get and you utilize it in a efficient manner by any means, you know.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, it was fabulous talking to both of you guys. Thank you so much for the time. I'll continue to obviously track you guys, see how you guys are doing. I'll follow all of the names of the folks that you mentioned as well. I already started following a couple of those. This is a great discussion. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Max, it was terrific to meet you. I wish you
Great.
guys all the best, and I'll as soon as I post it, I'll send you a link to it.
All right, thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Take care, guys. Have a good
Have a
weekend.
good one.